Introduction. Terms and definition from Environmental Quality Schedule Waste Regulation 2005. Abbreviation. Proposed Waste Management Guideline in Oil and Gas Refinery. Reflect quantity of waste, anticipate waste generation, target amount of waste per 3 hours. Have better control over the waste, ensure complying with current legislation, provide guidance to the personnel. Scope that we will cover are roles and responsibility, amount of waste generation, target waste minimization, control over on management of waste, storage of waste, waste transportation internally and externally, hand over to approved collection and disposal, require monitoring of WMG and many matters that impacting object of the Act. What is site operating records? SOR is used by WMG that include facility permit documentation and design plan that are the site development, SOP inspection record, training records, monitoring data records, wave receipt and site-specific data. Roles and responsibilities. Licensed contractor. Provide documentation of required environmental training, perform work activities in accordance with training and contract specification, taking care of material, equipment, and any other services. Storage supervisor. Keep equipment operating by enforcing operating instruction, secure warehouse by turning alarm on, supervising staff. Safety and Health Officer. Investigate and complete report, provide guidance with PPE selection based on the job hazard analysis, provide general clinical safety guidance. Safety, Health and Environment Officer. Implement and maintain program to achieve environmental target and objective, stay current with identified environmental, legal and other requirements, serve as the emergency response coordinator. Occupier. Maintain accurate and up-to-date health record, provide maintain system of work that are safe and without waste, prepare writing statement of general policy with respect to safety and cost. Waste Management Officer. Aim to achieve waste reduction targets, manage waste management schemes, control budget for waste disposal. Employees complete required training program, notify department manager of any environmental aspect, perform designated work activity in accordance with training and work procedure. Site Supervisor. Expose directed personnel with the Medical Center Environmental Management System, assign and handle properly trained personnel to perform work activities. Waste Operators. Carry out receiving control, identifying, inspecting, declaring the delivered waste. Monitor activity and perform tasks by ensuring the compliance with legislation and standard. Emergency Response Team. Provide training records if requested. Coordinate environmental response duty with SO. Chemical Health Risk Assessment. To identify hazard posed by each chemical substance in workplace, to evaluate the degree of exposure for employee to the chemical substance. Next, to evaluate the adequacy of existing control measure, to conclude on the significance of the health risk posed by the chemical hazards to health, to recommend further appropriate control measure to prevent or reduce waste. Some of the hazardous chemicals that covered by CHRA. Training programs for handling hazardous waste are crucial in order to train competent workers and must be instructed on how to document and maintain required records, characterize hazardous waste, identify appropriate waste container for storing and shipping, label and mark container during storing and shipment, waste storage area, utilize manifest, protect employees from hazardous waste, respond to hazardous waste emergency and spill. Waste minimization program. Contractor, design team and supplier are encouraged to minimize the amount of waste produced by reuse on-site, reuse off-site, recycling off-site. Waste treatment. Hazardous waste cannot be reused on-site nor can be mixed with non-hazardous waste as there is a requirement under Environmental Quality Schedule Waste Regulation 2005. Treat any waste including hazardous waste at the point of origin or at an alternative suitable site prior to this. Waste disposal. Department of Environmental will be contacted to determine the most appropriate waste transfer station to handle the waste material being produced. Transfer station would then send it off for final disposal. Waste records. Inventory records for each scheduled waste should be maintained to indicate the date, type and quantity of waste. Waste consignment notes for movement of hazardous waste from one station to other station are: first, Competent person provide information in waste card to be delivered to contractor upon collection of waste. Second, competent person shall complete part 1 of 6 schedule consignment note in 6 copy and hand over to the contractor. Third, licensed contractor shall complete part 2 of 6 schedule consignment note in 6 copy and shall hand over 2 copy of consignment notes back. Fourth, 1 copy submitted to DG of DOE within 30 days of scheduled waste collection date, 1 copy to be kept for recording purposes. Fifth, the occupier shall complete part 3 of all remaining 4 copies of 6 scheduled consignment notes once the scheduled waste being delivered to prescribed premise. Sixth, upon completion, complete copy of consignment note shall written by occupier for recording purposes. Waste management audit and review, audit of record for activity training, audit of any waste management failure, and audit of waste disposal on final destination of the waste.
Oil and gas refinery waste generation can be allocated from refinery, mass hall, and control room within the facility. Waste identification and classification. It's classified into scheduled waste and non-scheduled waste based on Environmental Quality Schedule Waste 2005. Non-scheduled waste will be further classified into hazardous waste and non-hazardous waste. Waste schedule examples can include mercury, hydraulic oil, catalyst, oxidizing agent, and oil tank sludge. Hazardous but non-scheduled waste can include used or worn out PPE, used containers or drums, oily rags, materials with chemical residues. Non-hazardous but non-scheduled waste are papers, office waste, packaging waste. The waste will be further classified based on treatability, whether on-site or hand over to the contractors, its recyclability, its reusability, and recoverability. Non-hazardous waste that are unable to be recovered, reused, recycled will be disposed in landfills. Waste inventory and notification. Waste inventory must be prepared for each of the generated scheduled waste. The form can be found in the appendix of the waste management plans. Copy of each generated scheduled waste should be available in store. Waste notification. Notification of generated scheduled waste should be done within 30 days from the date of generation. It can be done on eSwiss, an electronic platform that have been prepared by Department of Environment, DOE. You can refer eSwiss hands-on guidelines in the official portal of eSwiss. Waste storage. Workers, when handling waste for storage, please ensure the right personal protective equipment, PPE, is available. Correct wearing methods could be trained through necessary training programs. Maintenance and regular checking the condition of PPE is a must. Workers, please equip yourself with safety goggles, safety gloves, non-slip sole steel-toed boots, fitted and full body coverage clothing. Waste storage containers. For mercury, we have the plastic bunghole drums with the cover. Oil tank sludge, we have plastics, metal drums, immediate bulk containers. For hydraulic oil, we have the leak-proof metal steel drums, and such. For catalyst, we have the leak-proof metal drums. And oxidizing agent, we have the bin and cabinet made of metals or other non-organic materials, and then the metal drums as well. Requirement for scheduled waste storage containers. It has to be durable, close every time, tightly lidded, properly labeled, compatible with waste, in good condition, capacity of at least 110%, tanks for the waste oil should have secondary compartments, spillage should be contained immediately. Requirement for non-scheduled waste containers: properly closed, properly labeled, tightly lidded, well maintained, selection based on waste characteristics, prevent leakage and moisture, spillage should be contained immediately. Labeling of containers. Label specification for scheduled waste is as follows. Examples of scheduled waste pictograms. Explosive substance, inflammable liquid, inflammable solid, solid spontaneously combustible, solid dangerous when wet, oxidizing substance. Types of labels can include stick-ons, metal plates, stencils or printed on the container or the package, and it should be clearly displayed and will not fade off with time. Waste storage area. Storing scheduled waste should not be more than 180 days, and it must not be more than 20 metric tons. Storage of waste should be done in a manner where the drums should be placed in a pallet. One pallet consists of 4 drums. Secure the drums by tying the drums with plastic or steel tape. With the availability of a crate storage, stacking of pallets can be done up to but not more than 3 tier. Without the availability of a crate storage, stacking of pallets should not be done more than 2 tier, in row 2 pallets wide, and drums must always be stored vertically. Here's an illustration example for special storage in waste management. The area should be fenced. It should prevent entrance of unauthorized personnel. It should be equipped with an emergency exit. Incompatible secondary compartment is required for materials such as flammable hydraulic oil with oxidizing agent. Storage area should be surrounded with concrete dike to contain any form of spillage. Proper warning signs. Has enough aisle spaces between the stored waste group. Safety and emergency equipment such as emergency firefighting equipment, emergency communication devices, and a spill kit. Requirement of storage area of the hazardous waste. It has to be separate from working spaces, cafes, and working restrooms and other places. Avoid high-risk area that can be flooded, area with hill edge, area with slope. Has a dedicated person in charge, PIC. It's equipped with a copy of the waste inventory. The area must avoid being exposed to moisture. Finally, the area must have a regular inspection and maintenance. Requirements for storage area of non-scheduled waste. Proper segregation is based on recyclability, treatability, hazardousness, and reusability. A clear warning signboard such as "No smoking" should be included. Waste transportation. Transportation of waste are categorized to internal transportation and external transportation. Internal transportation is the movement of waste that has been generated respective from their location, which are refinery, mass hall, control room, with the means to be stored, recycled, treatment, or disposed. Workers can use forklift or pallet jack for moving heavy loads of waste within the facility. movement of waste generated from the refinery, waste movement from mess hall, waste movement from control room. External transportation consists of all operation in moving scheduled waste outside the facility. External transportation. Procedures should include all aspects of operation from arrival to departure, including wheel blocking to prevent movement of vehicle, verification of proper connection and disconnection of the tube, connection of grounding system, adherence to no smoking and no naked lighting policies for the drivers coming into the facility. Confirmation of contractor's identification and clearance for entry. Qualified staff performing loading and unloading operations should be done adhering to safety protocols to avoid unintended releases and hazards from fires and explosion. Workers must follow chemical handling standard operating procedures. Some of them include reading the label and safety data sheet before handling the chemical. Ensure that chemical containers are tightly closed at all times in loading and unloading. Prevent source of ignition such as smoking or electrostatic charge. Use adequate protection such as personal protective equipment and prevent direct contact with chemical at all times. When dealing with the contractor, ensure the contractor has a well-developed job hazard analysis for transporting the waste. Job hazard analysis procedure in dealing with incidents involving waste spillage or burning, along with protocol for emergency response plan. Contractor handling any cargo of waste must obey road rules and regulation of the country. Selection of contractor based off waste group registered and scheduled waste facilities offered. Operations for transferring scheduled waste to the conductor. Workers must provide a properly prepared consignment note to the contractor. The contractor must sign and date the consignment note to acknowledge the receipt and return a copy to the worker. Waste generated are to be provided with information for each category of planned waste and must be delivered to the contractor in accordance with the 7th schedule. Workers shall give the schedule to the contractor upon delivery of the waste. Workers must understand the intent and uses of the 7th schedule and inform them to the contractor. Upon completion of scheduled waste transfer process, the conductor may leave the oil and gas refinery facility and begin heading to its designated location. Workers must track the hazardous waste from the time it leaves the facility until it reaches its designated location. Spills or accidental discharge. If a transporter discharges or spills hazardous waste, it is required to take immediate and appropriate actions to protect human health and the environment. Actions include immediately informing the Director General. The contractor shall do whatever it is necessary to contain, clean, or reduce the spill. Waste generator workers shall give technical expertise and support in any cleanup operations, which include initial containment and reduction of the spill. Waste recovery and recycle. Waste minimization are methods within the facility's waste management program to identify ways to avoid waste generation in the first place and to minimize the amount of waste produced wherever possible. To minimize its possible effect on disposal, waste needs to be treated by reducing its inherent hazard. Waste minimization process is divided into information gathering, analysis, implementation, and result measurements. Enhance recovery and reuse. It is a method used during process of oil and gas refining itself, where it produces side products, and those side products are turned into reusable material products. Examples of side products include fractions of crude oil, which can also be transformed into base oil, which is used for producing lubricating oils. Other examples are as follows. Waste disposal. Waste will be disposed to approved third-party facilities of controlled waste management site that's suitable accordance to relevant laws and regulations at their area. Only licensed contractors is allowed to treat and dispose scheduled waste. Information of scheduled waste must be completed by generator, contractor, and occupier of prescribed premise. Waste generator shall submit the information within 30 days from the date of transportation. The contractor shall within 10 days from the date of receipt delivered submit the information to the occupier of any prescribed premise. Occupier of prescribed premise shall submit the information within 20 days from the date of receipt.